Remakes of old movies are still being made, and they're not getting any better. If anything, they're destroying the originals. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Brandon Aries, and welcome to The Sanctuary. A majority of the film industry is mainly superhero movies, some originals, and remakes or reboots. I bring this point to you because I just recently learned that they're doing a remake of White Men Can't Jump, starring Jack Harlow. Was anyone even asking for this? I mean, let's take a step back. Do people even ask for remakes? No! Well, there are some, but you catch my drift. I'm confused. Did I miss something here? Was White Men Can't Jump in need of a remake? I mean, even TV shows are getting remakes. One of my favorite TV shows, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, has a new remake called Bel Air. Is it any good? I don't know. But it got renewed for a season 2, so maybe? There were a lot of remakes recently. And one example that comes to mind are the 3 different versions of Pinocchio we got within a year. Then again, that's also a public domain issue. The more I think about remakes, the more I see what a major part of those remakes are for. See, remakes sound like the studios taking a story and kind of bringing it up to today's modernization of the current world. With that, some films work. Others don't. Some films just really work in the time that they were made. And when you take that story to today's climate, you might have to take away certain components that are critical to the story. At that point, are you really remaking this story? Or are you using the old story as a base to make your new story? Then it just becomes something else entirely. Then again, you have remakes that ended up being successful. One that comes to mind is the It franchise, which turned out very successful. But then you have duds like the recent RoboCop movie and the new Terminator movies. Yes, the CGI of today made these effects and this story feel a little more realistic, but the story itself with the characters and everything just does not compare to its predecessor. If anything, it leaves a bad taste with not just the audience, but with the franchise itself. Now, there are some films you just do not remake. Like, you do not cross that. For instance, you wouldn't remake 2001: A Space Odyssey. You wouldn't remake Goodfellas. You wouldn't remake The Godfather, right? Right? Knowing Hollywood, I just gave them a golden egg of an idea. Don't do it! Now, I have a personal film that I have heard for the past 5 years is getting a remake. And I freaking hope that it is never made. That it is never green lit. That movie is The Crow. The Crow is a film that is very near and dear to my heart. I'll tell you why. This film came out in 1994 and it stars Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee. My father was a huge fan of Bruce Lee, so I was named after Brandon Lee. While filming The Crow, Brandon Lee was shot and killed on set. When I was a kid and I first saw that film, I felt a connection to Brandon Lee. Now, I watch that film at least once a year. To me, The Crow was brilliantly done for its time that it was made. It didn't leave me wanting more. I was content with the story and its end, but they still went ahead and made more. And where did they end up? In the garbage. Now, like I said, there are talks of it being in the works, and it possibly starring either Jason Momoa or Bill Skarsgård, which to both, I say no. It's no disrespect to the actors. Both of them are great. It's the story that I care about. It's the timelessness that I care about. It's the value that the original gives me. Yes, I'm being selfish right now. Remaking some of these films and some of them being so iconic takes away from the value and the appreciation of what the original film stood for. Can you imagine a remake of The Breakfast Club in today's generation? I can't. Weird Science, anyone? Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Jaws? I mean, for crying out loud, people were afraid to swim in beaches because of that film when it came out. Now we have Sharknado. It's not a remake of Jaws, but you see my point. Just stop with the remakes. Unless you genuinely feel like you can give the story justice, or that you can make the story better in some small way that'll just blow everyone's mind, leave the stories alone. Odds are, nobody asked for them. That includes The Crow. That's all I have to say about remakes. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give a like. It is always so much appreciated here in the Sanctuary. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button. And next to that is the notification bell for every week this lover boy pops up in your feed. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.